Washington Times front page for Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. House Speaker Mike Johnson has called on the president of Columbia University to resign over the handling of on-campus protests related to the Israel-Hamas war. Valerie Richardson and Kerry Pickett report Johnson and the four House Republicans who joined him were greeted by a crowd of noisy protesters. The lawmakers first met with Jewish students and then with University President Manu Shafik and other school officials. Afterward, they said they had little confidence in her ability to restore order. Students had been given an additional 48 hours after agreeing to remove a significant number of tents and remove protesters not affiliated with the school. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has refused to answer questions about an ultimatum ordering Chinese-based ByteDance to divest from TikTok or face a ban in the United States. Ryan Lovelace reports Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin rejected reporters' questions and what ByteDance ought to do. He said he previously made clear China's principled position opposing the crackdown, but offered no new advice. A provision requiring ByteDance to divest from the social media app was included in the foreign aid package signed by President Biden this week. Analysts say only a few potential buyers could afford to make an acquisition offer for the company. D.C. residents say they're still wary after often brazen violence plagued the city last year, despite assurances from local officials and police that crime in every major category is down. Matt Delaney reports Mayor Muriel Bowser and the Metropolitan Police Department have touted the 24% drop in violent crime through the first 4 months of 2024. Homicides are also down 28%, carjackings down 31%, and muggings down 22%, mirroring a nationwide trend. Last year, the city recorded a 26-year high in homicides, a record high number of violent car thefts, and frequent ambush-style robberies in side streets and on commercial corridors. Some community leaders say the best way to improve safety in the district is to rebuild interpersonal bonds that once kept communities together. Former President Trump has tried to make the most of his courtroom confinement, creating impromptu press conferences while being away from the campaign trail. In between proceedings this week, Seth MacLachlan reports Trump urged Pennsylvania voters to go to the polls for the primary election and criticized President Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. He's also called into media outlets friendly to him and ventured elsewhere in New York City. Trump is accused of falsifying business records to conceal hush money payments to an adult film actress and two others during the 2016 presidential campaign. Republicans in some congressional races are reshaping their stances on abortion, backing away from stricter limits in the wake of public backlash. Susan Ferricchio reports both Florida Senator Rick Scott and Arizona Senate candidate Kari Lake have moderated their positions. As Florida governor, Scott pledged to sign a 6-week abortion ban. Now he supports a more generous 15-week time frame. Lake now opposes a recently passed law that makes Arizona one of the strictest states on abortion limits in the country. In polling and the last two election cycles, voters have expressed opposition to strict abortion limits and rejected Republican candidates who have embraced those limits. And finally, China's military is conducting research on sea-based neurotoxins, raising fears among U.S. officials and analysts that China is secretly developing biological weapons. Bill Gertz reports an annual State Department Arms Control Compliance report said China continued to engage in biological activities with potential biological weapons applications. That raised concerns about China's compliance with the Biological Weapons Convention, which has been in effect since 1975 and was ratified by China in 1984. The disclosure of work on marine toxins is the first time China has been accused of conducting this type of strategic weapons research. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times,